Today, I'm going on a sartorial journey with the TV and radio presenter and all round trailblazer, the wonderful Anita Rani. Anita, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you here and to be taken on a naughty journey with a glass of champagne.
I know. Well, if you're going to open your fabulous fridge and it's just full of beautiful bottles of champagne, it felt wrong not to have a glass,
Com-
Amanda.
Completely wrong, completely wrong. And I was saying to you earlier, I feel like I know you so well because I listened to your wonderful memoirs, The Right Sort of Girl, and as I went on this incredible journey with you in which you navigate life as a young Asian woman growing up in Bradford, where you said there was just nothing,
Mm.
no one that looks like me.
Mm.
And that just really pulled on my heartstrings. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, thank you for listening to my memoir, and I'm sorry that you had my northern voice
Oh, I
ringing
love
in
your
your
northern
ears.
voice. I'm a northerner myself.
um, yeah, and that's the reason I wrote it. I guess I find myself as someone who's kind of worked up in this industry, in an industry that really there was no one like me, especially 20 years ago. Um, And after 20 years of working away and getting to a place where I have a level of success, it felt the right time to now talk about how I got there because I remember feeling there was no one who looked like me when I was growing up in Bradford, in suburban Bradford. And so during lockdown, I got the
No one
opportunity
that looked like you on
on
television.
television, in any of the culture that I
Yeah,
was consuming like mad,
yeah.
in my little bedroom, the magazines I was reading, the TV I was watching, the radio I was listening to. Not that I felt it at the time because I was just absorbing culture. And the thing is, stories are stories, right? So if you're watching somebody on telly or you're looking at fashion magazines, you just because you don't see yourself reflected doesn't mean you can't you find a way of identifying. However, on a subconscious level, it made me feel like an outsider. Absolutely. Which is really weird to think about, but so that's why it felt really important to write a story for lots of people like me who just needed to know that, I can understand. And I think sometimes when you have a level of success, people just presume that you might be privileged in some kind of way or, have had, don't get what they're going through. So I wanted to say, look, I'm just like you and I get it.
Because you really inhabited almost two separate worlds, didn't you? You know, you inhabited your home life, which was quite traditional Indian,
Hmm.
and then going to school, and you were probably you sort of in the minority?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It was two different worlds, like my Punjabi home life. And it's really important to say Punjabi because in India, if anyone's been, every region, every state is quite distinct. And so every state will have its own food and culture and language and, ways of tying a sari. I'm sure we'll definitely be talking about saris at some point.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. And which I'm looking forward to. And Punjab it's just it is the state that gave everyone tandoori food and Bhangra music. And, and the book, I'd say we are the Irish of India. It's kind of, we're culturally identical to the Irish, big, gregarious, fun loving, very generous party animals. Um, and, but also a migrant community. And and also a rural community. So, this post the partition of India, this generation, my grandfather's generation left and they went to all corners of the earth and mine landed in Bradford somehow. And I used to say, Grandad, why Bradford? Of all the places he could have gone, why Bradford? But actually now I'm really grateful that he landed in Yorkshire because I'm very proud of being from Yorkshire and that land. Um, and yeah, absolutely. I was the first. My dad came over when he was 4, my mum when she was 24 to get married. So I was the first really to be born in Britain, which is quite crazy to think about. My dad's a real Yorkshireman because he was only 4 when he got here, but still, he wasn't born here. And so it meant that, we're the first generation who had to really straddle different worlds and the world of my Punjabi home life and the things were done a certain way because my mum was from India, which often meant that things got I got things very wrong when I went to school, sometimes, like when
Like what?
so once I mean, I had school dinners, which was great, but when mum made me a packed lunch once and sent me off with chickpea curry and puri, which is a deep fried, chapati, which is absolutely delicious, but not to be had in a little private school as a 7-year-old when everyone else is having ham
I was gonna
sandwiches.
say white bread ham
Which is
sandwiches.
all I wanted, right? All I wanted was cheese sandwiches and I got delicious Indian food. Or we'd go on these fabulous expeditions for day trips into the Yorkshire Moors, which was unusual for an Asian family, because my dad's quite adventurous. But my mum would have to pack, the Punjabi picnic.
The full blown.
Full blown paratha, samosas, you name it. And of course, now I love it. Now, when I get together with my friends who are from all corners of the earth, we get together and everybody brings something delicious to eat. And a samosa is the perfect thing to have on a picnic, right?
Heaven.
But when you're in 1980s Bradford, it's mortifying. So yeah, there was a lot of contrast.
And I would imagine a lot of contrast in terms of dress. Did you have a push-pull in terms of cultural dress versus, well, I would assume school uniform
Yeah.
versus what you wore in front of your white friends?
So clothes are just like the only time I would wear Indian clothes were for a special occasion. We're not a household that wears, my mum wouldn't wear a sari on a daily basis or a shalwar kameez. Like that's just the culture. My granny would always be in Indian clothes. But my dad was like just, as soon as my mum came from India, she thought she was going to come to Britain and learn to ballroom dance. She had a real romantic view.
She must have loved it when you went on Strictly.
Oh my God. That was
That's
it.
another question,
Yeah,
but we'll
well,
come back to that.
and dad was like, no, we go to the pub. And so, mum, she was a real fashionista in India, but I think marrying my dad enabled her to really express herself in a way that she wasn't allowed when she was in India. Like, so my dad really encouraged her to get, and we've got fabulous photos of mum in like really skinny jeans. She had a tiny little waist, fabulous little figure, and just really, they're just very sharp. My dad is a very sharp dresser.
So encouraged her to dress quite Western.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, Indian clothes were worn for Indian occasions. And the rest of the time I was just running around in, Western clothes.
And what was your earliest sartorial memory? When did you first understand the impact of clothes for you? How did it make you feel?
So clothes are really important in my life. My parents had a manufacturing business when I was little. So my dad is an amazing tailor. Like you will know this because this is your industry. He can look at an item of clothing and cut the pattern freehand.
Oh, love that. That is such a talent.
Yeah, he's really creative. He's very logical, so he can see patterns.
Flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but also he's a perfectionist. So when he sits at a machine, often he would get one of his seamstresses to do the sample, but then he would do it himself because no one could stitch better than him. No one's he would just. And so clothes have always been part of my life, and understanding clothing has always been so fundamental to growing up.
Do you remember the first outfit though, that the first time an outfit just made you go, yes?
Yeah, we were going to India when I was really little. It's one of the first times we were going to India. And my mum, it's quite a strange story. Mum took us to this lovely little children's boutique in Bradford and made me try on this beautiful silk skirt and top in a maroon colour. And I remember trying it on and absolutely falling in love with it and feeling like $1 million. And we got to India and my mum said, "Oh no, I bought it for your cousin. I just wanted you to try it on."
No.
And this cousin brings a story. She's now in nearly 50. And to this day, when we get together as a family, she'll say, "You were such a brat. You wouldn't let me wear it. You were like, it's my outfit. It's my outfit." Yeah, that's my mum. That's bad on my mum. But yeah, that was so, decadence and dressing up. And yeah, that was the first moment. It's a bittersweet memory of an item of clothing.
Obviously being surrounded by your parents and the factory and all of that, it's in your DNA, really.
Yeah, I love style. But what I've learned, and this is something I've learned from my dad, he would say, it doesn't matter how much you've paid for something if it doesn't fit you.
Yeah,
He's
that's
like,
so true.
yeah, and he says the mark of whether something looks good on you is whether it fits you properly. So make sure the shoulders are right, and so that's something. But also to have a father, and especially an Indian father, who has an aesthetic and is really particular about the clothes he wears. We would go to weddings and my dad would always stand, even to this day, they look great. They're very youthful. They're in their 60s, but what is 60? It's nothing, right? But no, and he had me very young. He had me at 20. And he would wear leather jackets to pick me up at school.
Oh,
yeah,
love
right.
it.
Yeah, cool. And it's very cool, and still like just very cool, but really individual, and wasn't afraid. And as in every aesthetic choice, how they decorated the home, the choice of car, the clothes, all of it. I used to have long hair, long silky black hair down to my bottom.
Wow.
And hair is the mark of beauty for an Indian woman, particularly Punjabis, particularly Sikhs, because
But long hair.
long, you don't cut it. If you're very religious,
Yes.
which my family isn't, spiritual, not religious. Like we're not, I wasn't brought up with, we must pray, you must do this. But there was a lot of spirituality around. Anyway, I was desperate to cut my hair. I used to stand on the toilet in front of the bathroom mirror and secretly chop my hair.
Oh my
And once I
God.
cut too much off one side, and my mum was like, "Your punishment is you're going to go to school with lopsided hair, sent to bed." And then she said, "Look, after your A levels, you can cut your hair." So I was 18, and the day of my last exam, I went straight to Tony and Guy.
Did your mum know about this in advance?
Yeah. She knew, and I know they were. She said it's not because we are strict. It's not because we're saying you need to keep your hair for any cultural or religious reasons. She says it's just because you've got gorgeous hair. She was like, it's so silky and long. She's like, but my God, Amanda, it wasn't me. And actually, I've had kind of shoulder length hair for a long time, and I've had a bob for a while now, and I don't recognize the photos of me with longer hair. I'm such a short-haired girl.
Do you know what? I'm looking at you. I can't imagine you with anything other than what you've got, this beautiful, glossy bob.
I washed
And
it
it's real.
specially.
It's a real face framing.
I like it short now.
It's
But
fab.
it's funny. It's funny that for me, the hair it's really important. Now my short hair is just really important.
Part of who
I
you
am.
are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because it's so not the norm for Indian girls growing up. It just felt really defiant. Yeah, I'm going to get my hair cut short. And so, yeah, short hair just has a significance.
And when you chopped your hair off, did that affect your clothing choices? Did you change your style at all?
I don't know if it's changing my style, because my style is like here, there, and everywhere. I feel like it definitely finishes off my look. It kind of it makes me feel like me. It gives me the edge. So, but yes, definitely. There are certain outfits where I'll go, oh yeah, that'll look great because I've got short hair. I don't know.
Now, you're a well-known lover of music.
Yes.
And you love to dance. And how did you evolve your clubbing look? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and clubbing is a look. So, I'm going to age myself now, but so music has just always been a lifeline, like so many of us. I was the kid who would stand in front of the TV when Top of the Pops was on.
And I was standing in front of that TV too.
Yes, dancing,
Yes.
wishing I was in the studio.
Knowing I was.
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, exactly.
Because they can see me.
Of course they can. And you're the greatest dancer in the room. Fast forward to, when I went to Leeds University, I did a placement in London in the music department at the BBC. Do you remember a programme called The Ozone?
Yes.
I was their office assistant for 6 months. And then they kept me on in the department. And I was 19 and working on Top of the Pops.
So how did you dress for that?
I mean, I was like the most casual dresser. I've been obviously thinking about this, knowing that I was coming to talk to you. But in the 90s, if you were a bit alternative, you would do it's like anti-fashion. It was baggy jeans and a little t-shirt.
Yeah.
That was what I lived in. And I guess
DMs?
that was club wear. DMs was definitely part of my look. When I was at school, it was all the kind of grunge thing that was happening. I mean, I look back, I'm like, what was I thinking? I remember going to India at the age of 16 after my GCSEs with my best friend Alison, and we stayed with my mum's sister through the summer, and we went to Delhi. There's a very famous market called Janpat Market, which is where all the clothes that were made for monsoon and all the various high street shops, they're kind of and some of them end up there, and it's all the tie-dye stuff and the long flowy dresses. And my auntie said, whatever you do, do not get excited, because they'll know that you're from Britain and they're going to put up the prices. As soon as we got there, we just squealed. Like, oh my God, it's so amazing. But anyway, so just dressed in kind of these long floaty dresses with DMs and lots of Indian jewelry, tons of bangles. And then got to uni and got into clubbing. And clubbing is really interesting, particularly back then, drum and bass clubs. You think there's no fashion because it's just people in streetwear, but actually it's really calculated.
There's a lot of fashion in
Yeah,
that.
so much. And it's all sort of coming back. Like Evisu jeans was a
Yep.
real thing. Real skater wear. I love a pair of Evisu jeans now. I'm actually trying to source myself a pair. Like, it's so sad that 20 years on, I'm still in Doc Martens, still wearing black nail varnish, but it
Yes,
doesn't
but I
matter.
love that because you
Yeah.
knew who you were
Yeah.
early.
Yeah. And it was, yeah. And it was almost like, I went clubbing in my dad's jeans, which sounds ridiculous. Like,
Did
so
you?
baggy.
What did you belt them
I
with?
belted them with one of my belts, but I mean, they must have just looked ridiculous. But no, they were trousers. They weren't jeans. They were just trousers. But I used to wear. My dad remember the brand Soviet?
Yep.
My dad had a Soviet denim jacket that I used to wear, big baggy stuff. I mean, it's actually, thinking back, you're right. It was a real sense of style, but at the time, it felt like I was making a statement about how I really wasn't into dressing girly. And I think actually, it was about sexuality. It was about me saying, I don't want to be seen as a sexual being. I want to be seen as a young woman who is part of a youth culture that isn't really about my sexuality. I don't care about being attractive to men. And it's kind of complex and layered, but and that it's just from clothes.
Do you have siblings?
A younger brother, yeah.
And did he have any impact on your dress sense?
I don't think my brother did. I don't think anyone did. My brother actually said he said, Anita, most people have older siblings who have someone to look up to, but I didn't. But I did have an uncle, my dad's youngest brother, who I guess is the person who was the biggest influence on me. Everyone needs a cool auntie or uncle, right? This guy went to art college in the 80s.
Oh, fabulous.
He was so cool, Amanda. Like, he was so ahead of his time as well, and so unusual growing up in Yorkshire.
And a great dresser.
He drove a VW Beetle. He had big Parker jackets, like massive DM boots, eyeliner, and he'd sweep into my grandma's house.
And how was his hair?
Oh, it was permed and big, and like, but
So
just
80s.
so 80s. I mean, we are talking 80s, but he was like the biggest influence. And then as I got older, I would just go and hang out at his house in this beautiful part of Yorkshire called Saltaire, amazing place, where big David Hockney land.
Yeah.
Salts Mill is full of Hockneys, and he just had the best collection of leather jackets. And
Did he lend them to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, how
He'd take me
generous.
shopping. And he lived as an artist, and really lived as an artist. So we just, get drunk together on a Friday and talk about music, and
Sounds like us on a Tuesday afternoon.
really taught me about living. Really taught me about living, but really taught me about, again, aesthetic and choice and individualism and not being afraid to be different.
I love that. I mean, because fundamentally, who would you say you dress for? Do you dress for yourself, your husband, your audience, other women?
I think I dress for myself. I don't think I dress for my husband. Sorry. I definitely don't dress for men. If truth be told, probably other women more than anything else.
And why is that?
I think there is nothing nicer, and I am this person. Like, if I'm in a shop or even in a toilet in a club or a bar and I see a woman dressed amazingly, and I don't know her, I will compliment her.
Hallelujah. I am a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
If someone's got crazy, fabulous hair
Yeah.
or just amazing shoes or whatever it is,
Always.
I just don't think we compliment each other enough.
There's nothing better than getting a compliment from a
No.
woman, especially a stranger.
Yeah.
I love it.
And you can light up someone's day.
Yeah.
You can change their day by saying, I think your hair looks amazing.
Yes. And I've been known to go up to strangers in the street.
Me too.
Yeah, I love it, because why not? If someone does, and there are those people and this happens in London. I love living in London because it's the best city on earth. And, you're walking through a crowd of thousands, and for some reason, one person will just
shine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why not just say to them,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Because that person's made your day visually happier.
yeah, yeah. So I quite like, when for me, there's no better compliment than a woman saying, "You look great." So when
You
you,
look great, by the way.
yeah, so do you. Oh yeah,
You have a seriously impressive TV and radio career, it must be said. But people have grown accustomed to seeing you in your wellies
yeah.
and your raincoat on Country File. um, how does that make you feel? Because you're a super stylish chick, and then you're out in a wet and windy, muddy field in your wellies and your raincoat.
Yeah, so when I joined Country File's a really interesting point where you're right, like my I've had to blend my street style with being in the countryside. So when I first got the job, I rocked up in box fresh trainers. I remember being on this farm and I'm getting an email from the Country File gods saying, "Usually, Anita, we wear Wellington boots when we are in the farm." Like, okay. But the only wellies I had, Amanda, were like, these cheapo ones that I probably bought in a petrol station, just for when it's
Functional.
functional. And you can't wear those on a 8-hour shoot day in the middle of
You'll
January. You'll
freeze.
freeze. Yeah. So I went down to this amazing shop, Farrows of London on Pall Mall.
Yeah.
And I went and I just went, "I want the Rolls Royce of Wellington boots, please." Because
And what did they produce for you?
Le Chameau.
They're fabulous,
Hell
aren't they?
yeah. And the funny thing is I rocked up in them. I'm such a city girl. And all the other presenters were like, "All right, Anita, with your wellies." 1 minute she knows nothing, and now she just rocks up in like
Leather
yeah,
lined.
exactly. I'm like, I am. So now I know more about neoprene lined wellies. I can talk to you about the thing is, I always knew about coats, right? Jackets have always been my thing
But
because
feet
but
on an
feet.
8-hour shoot,
Yeah.
fundamental.
I have actually bought myself electric heated socks. I am not taking any chances in the winter now. Being cold is horrendous. But yeah, I kind of refuse to, just because I'm working in the countryside, all of a sudden be in someone did actually say to
In
me,
a cagoule.
yeah, I mean, I love outerwear though. Someone said to me, "Oh, don't just get a barber because you're working in country farm." I was like, I live in East London. Of course I've got a barber. Everyone's in a barber. But actually I had barbers when I was a kid because my mum and dad, made wax jackets. So, and I love coats. I've got more coats. Coats and shoes are my thing more than a handbag. Give me a nice jacket, a nice, and so I've got so many. But I have I do like to have style on Country File, definitely. A nice jumper.
Clearly,
Yeah, I
clearly.
try.
And thank you for that because, the country is a very stylish place too, as well as being
Yes.
full of tweed coats and wellies.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now also you're presenting on BBC Radio 4 Woman's Hour,
I know.
which is
What? I
fabulous.
know. And
One of my
you were on and you were amazing.
Oh, thank you,
You were
thank you.
absolutely
Now,
incredible.
I know when I came on with you, you looked so super chic, but is there a temptation because it's radio to just sort of rock up in your joggers and say, well, no one's going to see me? Or in this world of sort of social media, you've got to be camera ready all the time?
So I on the scale of women dressing up and the world of kind of women in TV and in the public eye, I guess I'm definitely on the bottom end in that I'm quite casual. It's not that I don't make an effort, but I mean, you know what I mean? I don't, it's not like I've actually, she says that I'm actually getting more and more glamorous the older I get. That is the
You
fact.
so are.
The fact is a fact. My old housemate will tell you, we share a birthday and we used to live together. And she said we disappeared into our rooms to get dressed up to go out for a drink for our birthday. And she came up all dolled up to the nines. And she said, "You rock." I came out of my room in a vintage Adidas t-shirt. And she's like, "Anita, are you going to get dressed up?" I'm like, "I bought this today from a vintage shop. Like, what more do you want? This is a classic Adidas t-shirt." But now when we get together, she's like, "I can't believe it's the same you," because I'll, full face of makeup and everything. But what was the question? Where did we go?
It was about being on
Oh
radio,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
do you care about what you wear? I'm getting the feeling you care
Yeah, I do
all
more.
the time.
I do now more than ever. But particularly on Woman's Hour because I got the gig during lockdown and we weren't going out. So I had no reason and not that I was not dressing up. I'm not someone who just wears, I think I've got one pair of tracksuit bottoms, and they are ones that I could happily wear to the pub with a nice pair of heels if I wanted to. But for me, it felt important because I was going out to work, which
Yes.
was unusual. And I thought, right, I'm going to make sure, and it's 1 day a week, which is lovely, but also it's Woman's Hour.
Yes.
And it's like, this is a new look Woman's Hour. We've got, the amazing Emma Barnett doing, and it's kind of, it feels like I'm stepping into a new era of Woman's Hour. And yeah, I quite like wearing something interesting every Friday.
How do you plan your look?
Oh gosh, I'm not a good planner. And I'm up really early. So sometimes I'll just have a think the night before. Okay, that'll do. You'll know when I'm not really dressed up because I won't take a picture. There'll be times when
So I'll text you and say,
yeah,
got you.
Yeah, got you. No photo today, Anita. You in your tracksuit. Yeah.
Let's swing around to your Strictly experience,
Oh my
just
God.
in terms of outfits. Did any of those costumes take you out of your comfort zone?
Every single, like the first one I wore, I I am not somebody who is particularly, slinky or sexy, or that terrifies me. And also, I don't believe that makes a woman sexy. I've always said confidence.
Yes.
I mean, I've been banging on about it for long enough.
We have so much in common.
Yeah. And I couldn't pull that off anyway. And the first outfit they put me in, Amanda, I've never experienced it before in an outfit, side ass on show. It's a thing.
Well, lucky for us, but must have felt quite exposing.
Really exposing and terrifying. But the funny thing is, when you step into the bubble that is Strictly, what you do in your outside world and what you do in this Strictly world are two completely different things. And the credit to the costume department, because Vicky and her team are the best.
They are unbelievable.
Unreal. And they make you feel, because everything is so fitted to you, and the way they can stitch you in, and your boobs aren't going to go anywhere, and you don't feel exposed. You feel so secure.
Can you tell me a little bit about the process of creating the costume? You're doing the rumba next week. How does that all come together?
So it's all first of all, your dance partner has to come up with the choreography and the theme of the dance, and they might have an idea that they will take to Vicky, like, this is what we're doing, this is the mood, this is the for instance, movie week. I did the scene we danced to.
She's cracking her head on the table.
God. That's because my Strictly experience was so bonkers. Like, was I even dancing, or was I doing aerobics? I don't know what I was doing, acrobatics. But anyway, I did Unchained Melody from Ghost. So they had me in a wig, obviously, looking like Demi Moore. But so they have a theme, and so they'll work around it. But every single person on the program has a dummy that is theirs, and they make it to your size, so life-size dummy, and that they'll use that to fit the outfit on during the week when they're stitching it. But these dummies change size.
Well, I was going to say, because I mean, from everyone I know that's been on Strictly, they've lost pounds and pounds or kilos or whatever during, not that you've got anything to lose, but your body changes.
Your body shape changes, definitely. And you're training like an athlete, and you get incredibly fit. And so they tailor it to you. You can then say, I don't, this is my style. I think some people are more vocal than others. I'm one of those people who likes to please everybody. So, there are some of them I look back and go, I should have maybe said I didn't want to wear that, but it's okay. It is fine. And then hair and makeup get involved. And I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just go for it.
Yes, I thought you were amazing. I really do. I
can't actually believe I've done it, to be honest.
I'm in awe of it.
Do it, Amanda. We'll talk about, before you agree to it, talk to me.
I was asked many, many moons ago, and I just thought, I just think I would become sort of step dyslexic on Strictly. I love to dance, but I just think it would all go so wrong.
No.
With the pressure of the cameras and all of that. No, stress. No.
It is stressful.
I'd rather go to a club and dance.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. But coming back to dress and actually heritage, it felt like such a joyous moment seeing you wearing your sari when you were presenting at the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. And I never forget, because I was there, doing my bits too, and looking up at a screen and thinking, oh my God, Anita, that is amazing. You're
Did
in
you
your
think that?
cultural dress. I love saris.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And so what led you to that decision? Because
It was
was
big.
the first time you've worn a sari sort of to present in?
Absolutely,
Wow.
absolutely. And I don't know when I will next do it, but it just felt, I don't know, it just became obvious. I work with an amazing stylist called Christian who helps me. So, I love, 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 love clothes. I love style. However, when it's part of your job,
It's big.
it becomes like a job. So
Yeah.
you sort of need people to give you a hand.
Yeah.
And he sort of went, maybe you go for a sari for this. And as soon as he said it, I was like, there is never going to be a better time
Yeah.
than the Queen's Jubilee. I've sort of got to my place in, the British media landscape where people know me now. And
Yeah.
I feel like I can do this. I can just step into, and the reaction has been amazing. I was walking out of the BBC and one of the black security guards actually stopped me. It was quite emotional. And he went, you looked amazing. And he also said, it made us all feel so proud.
I
And
could not agree more. I mean, the whole Commonwealth must
yeah,
have looked at you and just said, wow.
somebody
And I loved
messaged
your
me.
nod to the platinum too, that it was
Yeah,
such a beautiful, pale, sparkly,
yes,
beautiful
hand
sari.
embroidered,
Yeah.
Lucknowi embroidery specific to that area. Um, and somebody messaged me to say, she said, my mother watched and she had tears in her eyes. She was a doctor in the 60s and she was told she's not allowed to wear a sari on the wards. And here you are. And it's going to make me emotional. So, it was a moment. And also, there's a story I tell in my book about how you asked me about, clothes that I used to wear as a kid. Every Sunday we would go to the temple, and that's when I would wear my little Indian outfit.
Oh,
And I love dressing up. I mean, nothing makes me feel more feminine or more graceful than when I'm in Indian clothes, especially a sari. It makes you hold yourself differently. I feel my shoulders go back. I feel like a woman. I just feel incredible. I can't explain it. Everyone should wear one and know what it feels like. It does
I've
make you,
put one on once, and yes, you hold yourself
yeah,
differently. You do feel incredibly feminine. There's
yes,
something about those layers of fabric and the folds and the
yeah. And you're
wrapping and
draped.
draping.
Yeah,
It's just,
exactly.
I think it's quietly sexy.
Yes. Oh my God, absolutely. I mean, it's literally one piece of material
Yeah.
wrapped around you.
Yes.
And then the midriff and the little blouse pieces underneath. Actually, the blouse and the petticoat, incidentally, were introduced by the British. Prior to that, women just used to wear them
Wow.
just material. I mean,
Bit of
yeah.
side boob
Bit
going
of
on there.
side boob, yeah. But yeah, so I wore every Sunday I'd wear a little Indian outfit, and then the ice cream van would come on Sunday afternoon, but by then I'm back in my jeans rolling around. But this one Sunday, the ice cream van caught me and I was still in my Indian outfit. And I went out, and my neighbors, who I used to play with, all the kids, kind of didn't like, they were like, well, what are you doing wearing this clothes? And I just felt really ashamed. And
Oh,
it was awful.
I remember that moment in the book, and I found it really heartbreaking because they referred to you as one of
No,
them.
yeah, we didn't know you were one of them.
Yeah,
Which is
and
I mean, it was I mean, and racism is something that I've grown up with, and it's all, it's just a fact of growing up in Britain at that time. But it was a moment that just exposed how intricately you have to live we had to navigate our lives back then, between where and when do you turn up who you are and when do you turn it down?
yeah,
And to some extent, I've had to do it even in my career, it's definitely getting to a point now where I am just
you are who
full
you are.
volume all the
Yes, it
time.
feels like over the last couple of years, I
Yeah,
feel like the real Anita
yeah.
Rani is out there, full volume,
Thank God.
doing
Yeah.
being who you are, and I think how much is there to be celebrated in that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the Jubilee was exactly that moment. I
Yeah,
felt like, boom, this is it. And you're right. I think the last since writing the memoir, it's kind of, it's a different me.
Going back to saris,
Yeah.
can you tell me a little bit about your wedding? Because I love
Ah.
the whole Indian wedding
Oh, they're amazing.
process,
I went
story.
I went to I went to India to do the shopping. So I was actually thinking about this because I knew obviously I was coming to talk to you, and it's I was thinking about luxury. Luxury. What does luxury mean? And how I have never been a slave to labels, ever. I love something that's well made. I love something that's quality. I love something that looks good. But I'm not somebody who has to have something just because it is a label. Um, However, and so I know it's like, why is that? What is it? What is it about me that can see that actually just because it's got a nice label on it doesn't mean that it is luxury? And I think it's because I grew up in a world where, for me, luxury, when my mum was going to get dressed up, would be something that is made of silk, that's hand embroidered, that is, somebody has crafted, and that is true luxury.
Yes.
And with jewelry that will be, and just the adornment of a woman.
Yeah.
I just saw it as something, and to me, that is luxury. And so, yeah, the wedding was my first opportunity to get properly dressed up. Because even having said that, I was a really annoying teenager. My Indian clothes were very low key. I like a nicely made sari, but I'm not into massive bling. But yeah, there's an amazing designer called Sabyasachi. Like in India, in the last sort of 20 odd years, there's been a real growth in high end designers with their economy opening up. And so you get these exquisite high end designers. And I knew that I wanted to go and kind of buy one of his
And
pieces.
where was he based?
I mean, he's actually from Calcutta, but he's got shops all over. But I went to an amazing shop in Delhi and splurged on I wore a maroon, not a Sabyasachi, a different designer, but I wore a maroon I got married in November in Bradford. But I wore a maroon velvet outfit with lace arms and hand embroidered cuffs. Yeah, really beautiful. It had a sort of Victorian feel to it. It was a bit mixed. It wasn't like a full, and then a beautiful sari. I'll show it to you one day.
Oh, that sounds absolutely exquisite.
I call it my big Punjabi sweat fest.
Did you have many outfits for your wedding?
Yeah, I had a few outfits. Oh, yeah. Outfits. I mean, it's a week. So you have an outfit for your henna ceremony, which is when you get your henna put on. You have an outfit for the morning of that ceremony. There's other ceremony. I have so many outfits. For the actual wedding, I had one outfit for the religious ceremony, and then one outfit for the reception, and then you have an outfit for we even have a ceremony where once you're married, you come back to your parents' house as a married woman, and I wore another sari for that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And what's happened to all of those saris?
I have got them all.
Fabulous.
They're not going anywhere. They're going to be in my collection, and I wear them. I do rewear them.
Fantastic. Do you consider yourself to have a style icon?
Oh, you?
Oh, stop it.
You're immaculate. You are. I like women who, there are so many different women who look amazing. I think individuality is what I really like. An effortlessness and so that they just look like they're, haven't even tried. But these are, I guess, style. There's a woman called Emmanuelle Alt who,
Oh, she's fabulous.
oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, she's French.
Yeah. But it's
She
effortless,
editor
isn't
in
it?
large at Vogue at some point. I mean, just awesome. A bit rock and roll.
Yep.
She's got
Ageless.
Ageless, exactly. Legs for days. And I really like that. I like women who just don't care about being fabulous. I aspire to that. I think the older I get, the more fabulous I want to become. I want to be in my 80s, Amanda, just, draped in silks and just really I don't know, I'm just still drinking champagne.
I will hopefully be there with you,
Yeah,
Anita.
absolutely.
How would you describe your style now, though?
I don't know. I had this moment the other day. You were there. We were lucky enough to be at the Hello Inspiration Awards.
Yes.
And I wanted to wear just a really nice tailored something, and I wore this fantastic Celia B sort of 60s print dress, and I have never felt more fun. This dress just brought me such joy.
I was going to say it was a joyous
Yeah,
dress.
it brought me joy, and I just had a sense of joy around me.
Yes.
And I felt like I was bringing joy because of the dress. And so I think I don't know, I'm trying to be confident. It's a weird industry that I'm in where I feel like sometimes I've felt I've had to dress for an occasion and fit in. Now it's about dressing for an occasion, yes, but making sure that I'm comfortable in what I'm wearing. That's it.
That's such good advice, actually, in
Yeah.
terms of getting dressed. Do you have one item of clothing that means the most to you, that's got real sentimental value attached to it?
Oh, I mean, I have one of the artist uncle. I've got one of his waistcoats, so that's really I love that. I love a waistcoat.
And that comes out every now
Oh
and then?
yeah, yeah, definitely. I absolutely love wearing waistcoats. Just a nice pair of jeans and a little waistcoat. That's it. It looks really good. And then I've got some of my granny's jewelry.
Oh,
Jewelry
lovely.
is really important. Not that I mean I've got lots on today, but you know I don't know when I'll wear this Indian jewelry, but it's just it's sentimental.
Mm.
How would you describe your style, Amanda?
Oh, we're not going there
No,
now.
please. We
People are supposed to describe you.
No, you've got it. It's just effortless and
I
ageless.
Thank you. Thank you. That will do. That will do. I'll take that as a very good compliment. Would you say you had a worst fashion moment?
Oh my God, I'm sure of it. I think when I first started out in telly, I didn't really appreciate that you need to elevate a little bit. You need to step out of your comfort zone. And I'm probably a bit, the shoes I've probably made. Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of mistakes. It's all there.
But there's not one in particular that you go, "Oh."
No, no, no. I mean, I don't know. No, no, it's okay. We don't have regrets, do we? No regrets.
Absolutely none. Let's talk about travel for a second.
Yes, please.
Do you pay particular attention to your airport look?
Um,
Because, you're
yeah, I
well
travel
known,
a
high
lot.
profile. Are you aware of those sort of sneaky snaps that
No,
get taken of you?
I probably should pay more attention. No, I am. I mean, I love. Who doesn't love traveling? But I mean, to be somewhere traveling on the road is just free, and on the road is just my happy place. Um, no, I am the opposite of that. I just as long as I'm comfortable and black pair of jeans, cashmere. Cashmere is the thing now that makes me feel like I've actually become an adult. A nice cashmere sweater to travel in, as long as because you never know the air conditioning on a flight, right?
I
If
always
you
call it a hug of
Yeah,
cashmere.
a hug of cashmere is what I need to be in, definitely. Trainers, I love trainers. I love trainers. Um, but like I love running, and I'm the opposite of all the gear and no idea. I just run and run and run, but I'm more than happy just a cap on, a hoodie, and a pair of leggings, and off I go. No one, it doesn't matter.
Would you say you're a good packer?
I should be the amount I
You
travel.
do. You travel all the time.
I've just invested in some bag separates, so you can put your t-shirts in one, and that help. That's
And does
helps.
that help?
Yeah,
Is it, I mean,
definitely.
the amount you travel, I mean, with Country File alone,
Yeah.
you're constantly packing, unpacking, aren't you?
Yeah, and when I started making sort of international documentaries, I made a mistake of taking 2 suitcases for a 3-week shoot in India, and it was the worst thing because you're bamboozled. It's much better to have a uniform.
Yeah.
It's much better to go, okay, this is what I'm wearing on screen, and I'll just have like 2 shirts or 3 t-shirts that are white, and I'll just keep it simple.
Oh, my sort of girl.
Yeah.
Talking about wardrobe secrets, do you have a brand that is a guilty secret?
I mean, no, but I mean, here we go. We are living in an age now where we know about fast fashion. Growing up, well, fast fashion wasn't a thing when I was a teenager. We used to shop in vintage shops. I used to go to a place called Blue Rinse in Leeds and buy all my vintage t-shirts.
Blue rinse. That
Yes,
sounds like a
granny.
bad hairstyle.
But then Topshop was for years. I used to love it. Who didn't love that iconic Topshop?
It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Absolutely amazing. And now I just don't just buy less. Absolutely. Now I'm not. Now I'm trying to buy quality.
Well,
I don't know.
also, yes, I think once you've been used to buying at trade
Yeah.
or having your family make for you or whatever it
Yes,
is, it's
exactly.
really hard to
Yeah.
pay full price, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think no, oh, actually, shoes are my guilty. Like I like a really nice pair of shoes.
Okay, so honestly, how many pairs do you own?
A lot, a lot. But it doesn't matter about I will never forget the first pair of designer shoes I bought myself. You know, I moved to London with nothing 20 years ago, and that I will never forget that experience of going into Chanel and purchasing my first pair of Chanel shoes with my own money. That was great.
And was it a Chanel? It was Chanel shoes before a Chanel bag?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, yes,
a shoe
absolutely.
girl.
Shoe girl, absolutely.
But that first moment, that
Yeah,
first designer
yeah.
luxury brand moment is embedded in our minds, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was because I knew it's I'm spending my money that I've earned on this and I'm treating myself, which still for me is quite difficult.
Yeah.
It's really difficult. I can't get beyond that. Do I deserve this? And am I really going to buy this? And is it really like what? But yeah, that moment, I've never forgotten that moment. I treated myself and I psychologically explained to myself why I'm allowing myself to do this. It's a lot of talk that
Did
goes
you
on.
ever justify it with pounds per wear?
I justified it with, "You've worked your ass off. Get in that shop and go and buy those shoes. You've earned it. Go and enjoy them."
What, if anything, do you feel you've got an excessive amount of in your wardrobe?
Shoes, coats, all of it. All of it. I think we just got too much stuff, haven't we? Generally.
We really do. I mean, swinging around to values, what's your approach to sustainable fashion?
Yeah, just not buying tons of stuff. So, like everybody, because things don't fall apart, it's just we're being told constantly that,
You
with
need, you need.
you need images, Instagram, every day we're bombarded with, oh, you could have this, you could have that. And so it it gets into your head. So I don't think people should feel guilty because we're being pushed it. But absolutely we can all make choices. And um yeah, and what do you do once you've got these clothes that you don't want to wear anymore? What do you do with them?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, obviously in your TV life,
Yeah.
you have quite a need for quite a lot
Yes.
of clothes,
Uh,
obviously. So what do you do with them when you've had enough? Do you rotate? Do you archive? Do you resell?
so some stuff goes to charity, some stuff goes to friends. I'm very good at gifting my friends.
Lovely.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I've
You're
particularly friends,
popular.
especially if I'm having friends round and we've had a drink or two, and then they're like, "She's going to open that wardrobe at some point, and we all know we're going to leave with something." Yeah, I'm really quite nice like that. I'm a good, generous friend, so have given, especially if someone looks great in it, and I know I'm not going to wear it, and she looks amazing. Take it,
Isn't
wear
that
it.
lovely though? The
Yeah,
circularity of fashion. I just love the fact
definitely.
that it's sort of done with you, and then it goes on to have a whole other life, and hopefully another life beyond that.
Yes, yes. But I think there's definitely a business opportunity for somebody to take people's clothes and resell them for them. Because if you're time poor, but you want somebody to do that, someone can do that. That's an
Yes, I
idea.
mean there's a lot of that going
Yeah,
on, but it's a very complex business
it is
model. But
complex.
but I really do believe that will break through.
Yeah. And also now there's a lot of rental, isn't there?
There's
So
a
I
lot of
think,
rental, and it's a huge trend to be in vintage
yeah.
or be in
And why
unique
not?
pieces.
Why not? There's amazing. If I could get my hands on an Aussie Clark dress, and wear that's a timeless piece. Just wear that anywhere, and you're just yeah. I found this amazing Laura Ashley 70s beautiful black floor length dress in this heavy cotton with just a bit of um lace on the collar, high neck. And it just brings me such joy. And, I'd rather have something like that, pieces that I'll keep forever.
And was that a piece that you've kept forever, or is that a vintage
It's a
find?
vintage find that I will keep forever.
And do you have any specific vintage spots that you love?
I'm
Or you're
look,
not going to share them because you don't
yeah.
want them
No,
raided?
yeah, I know. No, I'm lucky I live in East London and there's a plethora of
Yeah.
vintage shops and a lot of very stylish people in East London as well. So they're good places to go. Although someone did say to me, if you want a vintage in inverted commas designer gown, then go to what's the area in Manchester where all the footballers live?
Salford or
Oh,
Altrincham.
yes,
Yes.
Altrincham. That's the place to go because all the footballers' wives, all the dresses that they don't wear anymore, they're the places to go shopping.
They're probably £10,000 dresses in the first
Exactly.
place. So even vintage, they'd
Yeah,
be a
still
fortune.
£5,000. Yeah.
Right. On to quickfire
Okay,
questions.
let's do it.
Let's do it. High end or high street?
Oh, high end now for sure.
Bling or bear?
Oh, bling. Yeah, yeah.
Minimalism or maximalism?
Oh God, it's difficult, isn't it? Let's say minimal today.
Today, tomorrow's different.
Yeah.
Couture or charity shop?
Charity shop. Yeah.
One off or bog off?
Oh, one off.
Crocs, cute or puke?
Oh God, they're so. I know they're so puke, but I know that I've got mates who wear middle-aged men who are in Crocs at the minute and think it's all right, but they're puke. They're puke, but I might wear them. I've not got them yet, but they're puke.
Sneakers or stilettos?
Oh, sneakers for sure.
Skinnies or boyfriends or wide legs in terms of jeans?
Boyfriends at the minute.
Bodycon or boho?
Boho.
Sports luxe or rock chic?
Oh, a bit. I'm in a mixture there. A bit of both. Sport rock.
Sport rock. Oh, I like that. Glam or grunge?
Oh God, you see, I'm a grunge kid, but glamming up, pretending to be glam at the minute.
Party wear or PJs?
Party wear.
Trend or style?
Style, 100%.
Colour or monochrome?
I'm a bit of both, but let's say monochrome at the minute. I'm feeling monochrome today.
Pattern or plain?
Plain.
Cashmere or cotton?
Cashmere.
Hoarder or editor?
I want to be an editor, but I'm going to come clean and say I'm a hoarder.
Shapewear or sexy lingerie?
Shapewear.
Tights or stockings?
I'm a tights girl. Come on, I've got them on today.
Bikini or one piece?
A one piece. I love a one piece.
And finally, Anita Rani, one last question. What do you or don't you wear in bed?
Oh, that would give it away, wouldn't it? I'm just going to leave that to the listener's imagination.
Anita, thank you
Amanda,
so much.
Thank you.
What a fun journey with you today. Honestly, we are now going to carry on with our glass of champagne.
I hope so.
But thank you very much.
I've loved it. Thank you so much. What a treat.
What fun.